What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. We're throwing it to probably my second favorite weapon from Season of the Plunder here with Tarnished Metal in the Arc Scout rifle. This thing has some pretty banging rolls for both PvE and PvP, so we're going to give you both of those right here. Starting off with our PvP god roll. For me, I'm going with stability on this bad boy because it does jump around a good amount, and having that little extra stability helps wonders in the Crucible. Now for our barrel, we're going with full bore so we can get that increased range. It does decrease our stability a little bit, but because of steady rounds we have in our magazine here, it balances each other out, and that 48 does feel pretty nice for me in that sweet spot. Now for our enhanced perks, we do have a couple options in my opinion. You can go with Killing Wind if you want to get that increased mobility, weapon range, and handling for an improved period of time, but you do have to get a final blow. Or if you're getting steady hands, which I have with mine, those kills provide handling for all your weapons for a longer period duration. So this is nice with throwing on that shotgun or something to back you up, just in case that one sneaky person comes from nowhere. You can switch with steady hand and boom, they are just taken care of just like that. Now in our fourth column, again, I think I'm gonna go with swashbucklers, so every time we get that final blow, we're gonna keep increasing the damage. Or with arc melees, like with our Titan or our Warlock and that wild slide, you can get that stacked up to ×5, and you are absolutely annihilating people if you're hitting your shots with swashbuckler active. You could also go with either Eye of the Storm or Focus Fury once again, but Focus Fury, you got to make sure you're hitting those headshots. Eye of the Storm, you got to wait until you're weak, and it just doesn't seem like it works as well compared to something like hand cannons. So that's why I chose to go with the swashbuckler roll for PvP here in that god roll. Now for the PvE god roll, where I think this thing does shine in again the best, mostly because I play PvE the most, but this thing does feel very good along with Doom of Chelchis for my Void Scout rifles. This is taken over as my Arc Scout rifle because of the loot pool that we can have. So for me, I'm going with that stability again, like I said for PvE. This is nice to have just for that longer distance, taking out those barriers, taking out some of those snipers at a longer distance, especially with rapid hit and explosive payload like we're gonna have. Now for our barrel, we're going with extended barrel for that increased range, and it helps us control that recoil again, just for that long game, especially in the end game for the PvE like GMs, stuff like that, where everything is gonna one hit you. It's nice to have that extra range where you can pop in and out of cover to deal with those enemies. Now for our magazine, I personally went tactical mag, so we get that increased stability and reload speed and an extra little bit of increase to reload and magazine size, instead of doing something like appended mag or over here with alloyed mag or extended. That is gonna hurt our reload speed. We went tactical to have it all the way up at 63, so especially when you're amplified and with rapid hit, you're reloading very fast with this weapon. Now in our third slot right here, we do have two choices. I went with rapid hit personally. You could go with 4 times the charm to have that continuous damage on enemies. If you're hitting those precision shots, they do get reloaded, but I went with rapid hit, so when we do have those precision shots, stacks up and we get the stability and reload from it, not just the reload with that 4 times the charm and getting shots back. So it's a nice little best of both worlds in my opinion, because the stability is key with this weapon. Now in the 4 slot, we have 2 options. I went with explosive payload to try it out because it helps improve our range stat, and this is probably the better, most practical option in my opinion for that end game with explosive payloads, creating that AoE detonation of arc. But you could also go with Volt Shot if you're getting those defeats. Then you reload because rapid hit is procced and you can reload super fast. You can do that extra damage on targets with the jolt as long as you use that on enemies that have targets around them. So if you have a boss where it's purely just the boss without any extra enemies, Volt Shot's kind of pointless because you can't get a defeat, reload to proc it, and then use it on the enemy. So that's why I chose explosive payload, so it's more practical for everybody instead of having those specific situations where you have to get a defeat beforehand to proc Volt Shot. But Volt Shot is very fun, especially on something like Brigand's Law, where it's a little easier for that ad clear, ad management in that auto sidearm instead of something where you're using it more at longer distances, taking out single enemies at a time instead of trying to mass wipe. So explosive payload, definitely the way to go. Like I said, very fun scout rifle. Definitely craft it if you can. Has taken my #1 spot for arc scout rifles. Like I said, Doom of Chelchis is my void. Still waiting for a crazy scout rifle in the Trustee with Deepstone Crypt. Probably gonna be my solar go-to. So we got all of our bases covered. So hopefully y'all can get to crafting. Love this tarnished metal. Thank y'all again so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.